This takes us to the second reason for the threat, which is genetic annihilation. You see, since black were enslaved, they were ripped off all of their basic rights. However, the brutal masters still felt threatened for obvious reasons of black supremacy. Black people were undoubtedly stronger, more charismatic, and bolder than the non-black masters. Hence, the threat of getting genetic annihilation existed. In other words, white Europeans and non-blacks knew that if they married black, their genes would become submissive and eventually extinct. Biologically, those genes with more chances of survival dominate during fusion and manifestation. Mating results in the fusion of genes that came from the male and female, and the child and its appearance is the manifestation of the dominant genes. In this case, no matter who married a black man, either a white or Arab woman, the genes of that black man would dominate. In other words, it will be the annihilation of non-blacks' genes. Honestly, this was a massive threat, which cannot be emphasized enough. That's why black slaves were prohibited from marrying any non-black people. They knew the natural law of the survival of the fittest, which makes blacks superior to all. The non-blacks were so terrified of blacks that they followed the black blood drop strategy. Anyone with even one drop of black blood was considered inferior, taken away from normal people and put in the same class as other black people. But evidence exists that this wasn't the case in Latin America, where the Spanish and Portuguese empires existed. Spanish and Portuguese people would marry their slaves and have children, which could enjoy all the rights. Even Arabs would marry their black slaves and have children, which would introduce themselves as Arabs, following Arab culture and customs. The third reason for the threat was black being the first ever human civilization. History and fossil records make it clear that the first humans emerged in Africa. No disparity exists on the point that it was Africa where the first humans started living. With time, they developed cognitive skills until reaching the point of building the first human civilization. It's just an unbelievable and rather unorthodox concept that black Africans existed and prospered when no other race was even born. Centuries of time encouraged some black Africans to migrate and come to Asia and Europe. Today, the people living in Asia, Europe, and all other parts of the world are actually predecessors of black Africans, and that's where non-black feel resented. They don't want to accept that they are predecessors of the same race they have been calling inferior for centuries. But honestly, it doesn't matter whether they accept it or not. Getting a DNA test would clear this all up. Already, this has been manifested. Genetic testing has shown that European people have 4% to 20% of their genes, similar to Northwest African ancestral groups. No matter which human you pick, they would have traces of African genes in them, manifesting that blacks are the actual ancestors of everyone. But non-blacks don't want that to happen. If it does, it will make Europeans similar to the black Africans of today, breaking their illusion. Not only that, but this proves that Africa is actually the center of the world, not Europe or West, and that they hold all the power. Within a blink of an eye, black Africans will be added to the power equation,